if you know you're talking to Jesus, well, if you, first of all, assuming you believe in Jesus, I'm assuming that, if you believe in Jesus and you believe he's the Son of God, and you believe that he knows all and he can, he's omnipresent, then you know you're talking to him, right? That's kind of not the question. The question is he actually listening? And if he's listening, does he actually care? Does he, is he going to respond in some ways? And that's so the confidence we have that we're speaking to Jesus is because it's what the Bible tells us about who Jesus is. Jesus hears us, when we speak. But if you want to know, how can I know, is there going to be some kind of, response? That's a little tougher because the Bible tells us that God responds to us, Jesus responds to us in different ways. And I used to keep count of what I would think, and then I'd always lose count, so I don't want to tell you how many, but I'll tell you some of the ways. And so some of the ways the Bible tells us is that he speaks through his word. So as we study his word more, God speaks to us, and we understand, and we hear from him that way. Sometimes the Bible tells us that he speaks through other people, other believers, especially those who maybe are older and more mature in their faith, and so we gain from that way. He also speaks through other believers who have been given the role of being teachers and preachers and things like that, and so we hear that. But the Bible also tells us that God can speak to us through his Spirit, where we have this sense, and that's a hard one because how do we know the difference between that's actually the Spirit and not just me wanting it to be a certain way? For me, usually it's because when it's something I really don't want to do, but I know it's what God wants me to do, and I have that sense inside of me, I'm like, okay, I know this one is what I should do. And I know this is from God, because from me, I would be doing something totally different. It's people, God speaks to some people through visions and dreams. And again, it's hard. It's hard to know for sure, vision and dreams, whether they're just your regular vision and dreams or if they're actually from God. But the people who say that, I listen to them, and most of them have a way of saying there was a certain clarity about this vision and dream that was different. The Bible talks about God speaking through the still small voice or speaking through circumstances. But here's the thing that we should always know, that if we're asking how does Jesus respond, it's not just how Jesus responds, it's knowing that the Bible is our authority. And so anything we think comes from Jesus will be consistent with the Bible. It won't contradict the Bible. And that's one of the reasons, again, to go back to what I said earlier in the sermon, our fundamental relationship to Jesus is to be a disciple who's learning, and we learn from his word.